Imagine explaining college football to someone who's never watched a game. You'd have to explain why an eagle flies around a stadium before kickoff, why 11, 110,000 people dress all in white, why an entire stadium waves to children in a hospital, why a horse charging on the field carrying a flaming spear sends goosebumps down your arms. No other sport has traditions like this. And today, we're counting down the 10 greatest traditions in college football, in my opinion. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Draft Yoda. I am Draft Yoda himself, Bill Wortman, your favorite draft nerd's favorite draft nerd. And today, we're stepping away from our player rankings in the NFL draft. We're talking about something important to me and something too important to remember. And that's what makes college football one of the greatest sports in America. It's not just the rivalries, it's not just the stadiums, it's not just the players, it's the traditions. These traditions have been passed down for generations, from players to players, coaches to coaches, students, alumni, and fans. Some are loud, some are emotional, some are completely unique, but every single one makes Saturdays feel different than any other sport. Before we get into our top 10, I do have an honorable mention. If you've never experienced a night game in Baton Rouge, put it on your bucket list. Tiger Stadium, Death Valley, has been called one of the loudest places in sports. And it's more than just volume, it's an atmosphere. The smell of Cajun cooking outside, the anticipation all day long, the purple and gold everywhere you look. And then the sun goes down and Death Valley comes alive. It almost isn't fair for LSU to play at night. That's the type of vibration you get from this game. The players from around the country consistently say it's one of the toughest environments to play at night. It's less than a tradition, and it's more of an event. Saturday night in Baton Rouge simply feels different, and that's why it's an honorable mention. Number 10 on my list is one that I have gotten to experience myself. And some people love it, some people absolutely hate it, but everybody knows about it. And that is the sound of 1,000 cowbells ringing through Davis-Wade Stadium. It's become one of the most recognizable sounds in college football. It is loud, it's unique, and it is unmistakably Mississippi State. Love them, hate them, it belongs on the list. Number 9 was one that is near and dear to my heart. It is the Tennessee Vol Navy. Before the game even begins, the fans arrive by boat. Thousands of them on the Tennessee River. And it becomes a floating tailgate. And only in Knoxville can fans literally sail to a football game. It's one of the most unique sights in sports. I know I'm a little biased being a Tennessee fan, but the Vol Navy has become such a part of the game day at Neyland that you can't separate the two. They actually there are boats that will try to anchor themselves to a goalpost in the river. Enough said. Number 8, Notre Dame. Play like a champion today. It's simple, but sometimes the simplest traditions become the most iconic. Every Notre Dame player taps the famous sign before running onto the field. And it's become a reminder that wearing that Irish uniform means representing over a century of history. The sign represents expectations, championships, tradition, excellence, and it's only a few words. But the weight it carries for players, at least the players I've gotten lucky enough to talk to that played for Notre Dame, is immense. That's why it had to make the list. Number 7, another one I have been lucky enough to see for myself, is Auburn Eagle Flight. Before kickoff, the Eagle circles Jordan-Hare Stadium. Crowd watches, anticipation builds, and then the Eagle lands, and it's one of the most beautiful pregame traditions anywhere in sports. There's not another entrance like it, and it perfectly represents what Auburn wants to be and wants to identify as. Another one I have been lucky enough to see, Clemson riding down the hill. Legendary broadcaster Brett Mussenberg once called it the most exciting 25 seconds of college football. Players gather around Howard's Rock. Every player touches the rock, and then they sprint down the hill towards Memorial Stadium and into Death Valley. It's one of the few entrances that gives fans goosebumps every single time. If you're young, if you're old, it doesn't matter. I've been in that stadium a couple times, thanks to my lovely wife, and I don't think there's been a single entrance that I didn't see somebody have an emotional reaction to it. Number 5, Virginia Tech, Enter Sandman. Few entrances create more energy, but Metallica's Enter Sandman coming on at VTech, Lane Stadium just starts bouncing. I mean, literally starts bouncing. The stadium has actually registered on seismic monitors because of how much the fans jump. I understand for those younger in the audience, they don't know Virginia Tech as a powerhouse. But for those who can remember when Virginia Tech was dominant, that is a feeling and a tradition for a school that it cannot be touched on that campus. There's nothing else like it in Virginia Tech or in the state of Virginia, to be honest. Especially when the Hokies explode onto the field in the middle of the game or in the middle of the song and the crowd starts losing their mind. It is the closest thing to pure adrenaline I can think of. Then we have the top 4, and the top 4 hold a special place in my heart. I have yet to be able to see any of these top 4, but they are my 4 bucket list college traditions to be a part of at some point in my life. Number 4, Penn State whiteout. Over 100,000 fans, every single one of them wearing white. It's something that no professional stadium could ever reproduce. And the whiteout has become one of the most intimidating environments in sports. Players talk about it, coaches talk about it. The television audience loves it. I wish they would be able to do it against more prominent teams. Looking at you, Penn State, for not doing it against Ohio State a couple of times. But the visual alone makes it one of the greatest traditions anywhere in college sports. Number 3 is the Iowa Wave. Touches a little soft spot in my heart because it's bigger than sports. At the end of first quarter, everybody stops. Players, coaches, officials, fans, everybody. And together, they wave towards the children at the University of Iowa's Stead Family Children's Hospital. And it's impossible not to get a little emotional. It's impossible not to smile. It's a tradition that, everybody in football, it reminds everybody that football isn't the most important thing happening that day. There's people that have it worse off, and that perspective makes it one of truly the most beautiful traditions in all of sports. I got very, very close to making my number 2 my 1. It is number 2 is Florida State. it is Chief and Renegade. Few entrances are as instantly recognizable as the Chief riding Renegade onto the field with carrying the flaming spear, the horse charging to midfield, spear planted into the logo, and the crowd just erupting. It's dramatic. It's iconic. It's become one of the most defining images in college football Saturdays, to the point where it's been used so many times for college football sport games. It's truly synonymous with the sport. And there's very few traditions that create that kind of anticipation before a game even begins. Number one, Army Navy, singing of the alma maters. I know this is going to be a little bit of a letdown for people that were expecting some other things, but nothing else was ever going to be number one once I decided that it was singing of the alma. It's one of the fiercest rivalries in sports. And after 60 minutes of football, the winning team stands with the losing team and they sing the alma mater of the losing team. And then the losing team stands with the winning team and sings the winning team's alma mater. Every player stays. Every player shows their respect. Every player remembers something bigger than football. These young men will soon serve together, fight together, protect the same country. For one another, they're rivals. For that afternoon. For the rest of their lives, they're brothers. And no tradition of sport will ever capture that feeling. And that, to me, that is truly what college football is about. And that's why it's number one. These are to me, these are the 10 greatest traditions in college football. But I'm sure I left some people off. We're talking Texas A&M's Midnight Yell, Michigan's Banner Run, Ohio State, the Script Ohio. I'm sure there's tons of them. Jump Around comes to mind. Again, tons. But those are the ones I chose. Let me know your top 10. Let me know them down in the comments. If you've enjoyed today's countdown and want more college football content, make sure you tell me. We do player scouting, we do reports, rankings. We've got stuff coming every day, so make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, because we're going to keep putting in this work. We're going to be college focused and draft. We're going to be college football and draft, NFL draft focused, but I am Draft Yoda, your favorite draft nerd's favorite draft nerd. And guys, we'll see you in the next one.